Method is hydrogen production method is electrolytic process. Previously we discussed about the thermochemical products process. There are three methods of hydrogen production. One is thermochemical process, another one is electrolytic process, another one is a photolytic process. So electrolytic production technology, it is another way of producing the hydrogen. How we are producing the hydrogen in the sense, with the help of process we call it as electrolysis process. In electrolysis process, here in the tank we have a water and we have a electrodes. Two electrodes will be kept, that is one is anode, anode and another one is a cathode. And here we are charging the water with the electric current in order to separate the hydrogen and oxygen. So we are adding an electrolyte like salt, which improves the conductivity of the water and also increases the efficiency of the process. So the charge breaks the chemical bond between the hydrogen and the oxygen and split the atomic components, creating the charged particles like ions. These ions form two poles, that is, one is anode which is positively charged, another one is a cathode which is negatively charged. So hydrogen is from the water. Whenever the water with the salty water which is passed with electricity, the current is passed through the water and the two electrodes were inserted in the tank. So the hydrogen will be gathers at cathode and oxygen will be attracted by the anode. This is process we call it as electrolysis process. So electrolysis is the process of producing the hydrogen and oxygen from water in an electrochemical cell. Two types of electrochemical methods we have. One is nothing but alkaline, or otherwise it is also called as proton exchange membrane, PEM, proton exchange membrane, which is used in commercially, which is available in equipment. Commonly it is called as electrolyzers. Alkaline electrolyzers immerses the two electrodes, that is cathode and anode, in an alkaline electrolyte. Kind of solution will be added like sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide will be added and the voltage is applied to the electrodes. So the resulting migration of ions in the solution, which results the production of hydrogen at the cathode and the oxygen at the anode. But in PEM, the mobile ion is a proton, which is in the electrolyte, that is a proton conducting polymer membrane. This PEM electrolyzer is the best electrolyzer which will give the very good efficiency, conversion efficiency, that is approximately 70% of the efficiency will be produced, of the hydrogen will be produced. That means overall system efficiency for converting electrical power to power stored as a hydrogen is 70%. There are various methods are there in the electrolytic process. One is a water electrolytic process. So water electrolytic process in the sense same. It is used in 1950s in order to produce the hydrogen. For that we have used the water electrolysis process. Second one is steam electrolysis process. Steam electrolysis process is similar. Some of the energy is needed to split the water is added to heat instead of electricity. Here electricity will be passed to the water. Instead of that we are using some kind of solar or some kind of thermal energy that can be used to split the water molecules or with the split the water components. That means hydrogen will be obtained when the water is heated with the temperature of 2500 degrees Celsius At that time, the water splits into hydrogen and oxygen. So another method is nothing but photoelectrolysis method. Here also we are using the same solar energy or photoelectrochemical light harvesting system in order to generate the sufficient voltage to split the water and the stable in electro environment or water environment. But the percentage of conversion for the hydrogen production is nearly 12 percentage. And next is a thermochemical water splitting system. Thermochemical water splitting system, in the sense here we are using some kind of chemicals as a heat for the water molecule, like bromine or iodine is used in order to split the water molecule. The water molecule contains hydrogen and oxygen that can be splitted using this process. So several high temperature of the thermochemical reaction will be taking place, and which will produce the heat source as a nuclear heat source. From that we can obtain the this kind of hydrogen. Sulfur iodine cycle is used. The three chemical reaction will take place as, along with the water. Iodine will be added with this water. Then we are adding the potassium, and finally we are getting the hydrogen along with the oxygen. So the efficiency of the sulfur and iodine process, which will increase the 30% at 750 degrees Celsius to 60% when the water is reacted with the chemical component of 1000 degrees Celsius. So this other thermochemical cycles, which shows the efficiency of 40 to 50 percentage when the typical temperature of 72 degrees is maintained. Another method is a byproduct of sodium and potassium chloride electrolysis. That means hydrogen is a byproduct of sodium and potassium chloride electrolysis that produce the chlorine also. If it is reacts with this sodium chloride is react with the hydrogen along with the electricity, in the sense the water is subject to electricity, then we are getting the chlorine with the potassium or potash or soda. Finally we are getting hydrogen. If you react with this hydrogen or sodium or caustic soda, so finally we are getting chlorine along with the hydrogen, because chlorine is one of the most biggest common chemical in the world, which is required for purifying the water and the other places. So it should be produced in huge quantities. So there is also very helpful. Second, last process is nothing but reversible fuel cells. That means you are taking the fuel cells and doing the re-engineering process, operating the proton exchange membrane in the reverse as an electrolysis. But optimum operating condition for the power production mode and the hydrogen production mode are significantly little bit different. And the last production technology is nothing but photolytic production technology. Here the solar energy is used to convert the water to hydrogen and oxygen. We are using the solar energy. So electricity need to be produced by photovoltaic cell. The hydrogen production can be achieved either using by photoelectrochemical process or photobiological method. Photoelectrochemical process, in the sense this process uses the two types of electrochemical system in order to produce the hydrogen. One uses the soluble metal complex dissolves, the complex dissolves, the complex absorbs the solar energy and produces the electrical charge that drives the water splitting reaction. This process we call it as a mimic photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process, the biological process. That means sunlight will be absorbed by the plant or the leaf. But here the soluble of the metal complex which dissolves, that complex will be absorbed by the solar energy and produce. The solar energy will be absorbed by the complex and produce the electrical charge that drives the water splitting reaction. The other method uses the semiconducting electrode in a photochemical cell, which is used to convert the optical energy into chemical energy. So the conductor surface serves two functions. One is absorption of the solar energy and act as an electrode. The another method is nothing but biological and photobiological process. From that also we can produce the hydrogen, but the efficiency of the hydrogen produced is very less than that. It may be 15 to 20 percentage. That means we are using some photobiological technology in order to produce the hydrogen. What kind of things in the sense the photosynthetic bacteria is available in the water that should not be oxidized with the water. They do evolve the hydrogen from the biomass and generated with the from the sunlight, water and carbon dioxide. So the bacteria use the several different enzymatic mechanism with the near term commercial potential for the biological hydrogen production from the biomass. That means the photobiological process where the hydrogen will be produced. The hydrogen will be produced directly from the sun water using the sunlight with a special kind of a semiconductor thing. That is nothing but photo electrochemical. Biological production here the photosynthesis process where the bacteria and other kind of algae are used for the fermentation process. From the fermentation process we are getting the uh, kind of chemical ethanol or sorry methanol. From that methanol we are extracting the hydrogen by burning that gas. That is nothing but biomass or biogas. This conversion, which produces the hydrogen by using sunlight and specialized microorganisms such as green algae or cyanobacteria to split the water. As a plant which will produce the oxygen from photosynthesis process, these microbes consumes the water and produce the hydrogen as a byproduct of their natural metabolic process. So photolytic conversion holds the a very great promise for the long term of the thing. The key challenge that oxygen produced along with this hydrogen is tend to accumulate the production of the hydrogen. Another challenge is nothing but the chlorophyll in the microalgae. There will be a chlorophyll will be there. So this under bright sunlight which absorbs the photon at very faster rate than the others. It can be used for the photosynthesis process. So here with the help of algae and the bacteria, this kind of hydrogen will be produced by using this process. Next one is hydrogen energy storage system. In hydrogen energy storage system, how the energy will be stored, hydrogen energy. When compared to the electrical energy, the development of safe, reliable, compact and cost effective is nothing but hydrogen storage technology is the one of the most technical challenge, because we cannot able to store the hydrogen as like that in the tanker or it like in the any kind of drum, because it is explodable, it is a flammable one, because the hydrogen can be stored either a gas or it can be stored as a liquid or it can be stored as a solid. That means passing this hydrogen into the metal and storing the hydrogen in the metal as a deposited over the metal. So when compared to that other kind of electricity, this is electrical energy. The development of safe, reliable, compact and the cost effective hydrogen storage technology is the one of the most technically challenged barriers to use of hydrogen as a usable form of energy. I cannot able to use the same hydrogen wherever whichever I stored. I cannot able to use same, because I already told that hydrogen is a carrier. It is not an energy source. It is not a source. It is a carrier for any kind of energy can be added. Suppose assume that one car is powered with hydrogen. It is full in the sense, then it can be able to travel more than 450 kilometer between the one fill to next fill. So hydrogen, how we can store the hydrogen? So hydrogen is a very high energy content by weight, that is 3 times more than the gasolines, and it is very low energy content by volume, that is liquid hydrogen is 4 times lesser than the gasoline. So very high energy content by weight, very low energy content by volume. So this makes the hydrogen a challenge to store. So liquefied hydrogen is denser than the gas hydrogen. It contains more energy in a given volume. Similarly, the size liquid hydrogen tank can store more hydrogen than the compressed gas tanks. So hydrogen can be stored either in liquid form or in maybe in the gas form. And we can store the hydrogen in materials also. Material based storage. In material based storage, the hydrogen can be stored in a material by different process. It can be stored on the surface of the solid like by adsorption process or within the solid by absorption process. Adsorption process in the sense the hydrogen attach to the surface of the material either as a hydrogen molecule H2 or hydrogen atom. This is nothing but adsorption process, adsorption storage. Absorption process in the sense hydrogen molecules is dissociate into hydrogen atoms that forms the lattice frame network or framework. It is also called as a hydride storage method. Hydride, intermetallic hydride. It is very important question may ask in the university. This method make it as a possible to store the large quantities of hydrogen in a smaller volumes. Instead of storing as a gas or storing as a liquid, we can store this hydrogen with the help of this material based storage. We are doing compression process here. So hydrogen can be strongly bound within the molecular structure as a chemical components containing hydrogen atom in the form of compressed gas or cryogenic liquid. How the hydrogen will be stored in the sense the various methods of hydrogen storage are there. That is, hydrogen energy can be stored in following methods. What are the following methods in the sense compression, liquefied hydrogen and metal hydrates. Compression in the sense hydrogen can be compressed into the container or underground reservoir. Wherever it is required, then we can use a vehicle for transportation purpose. Liquefied hydrogen in the sense it can be liquefied by pressuring and cooling, and it can be stored as like a conventional petrol. We can store it in the tank. Metal hydrates in the sense the material absorbs the molecular hydrogen as a nanostructured carbons and hydrate. By absorption method and adsorption method, the hydrogen will be deposited over the material. And also it is very easy to transport and store. The hydrogen is removed from the parent material once it is required by using the reverse engineering process. So extra material is required to store the hydrogen is a major problem with this technique. Carbon based absorption can be achieved in higher energy density. Each storage technique which has the various stages of development and various research is going on for this storage methodology. Different kinds of materials we have to use for the different kind of storage technology. So hydrogen storage in a material is offers a great promise, but additional research is required to understand the mechanism of the hydrogen storage in a material. That's the biggest challenge.